this edition of Sports with Perk, we are joined by the voice of Athletics, Joe Zagacki. Josie, welcome to the couch, man.
Perk, thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a long time
Yes,
since we
it has.
talked. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the world. I'm covering Dolphins, you're covering We never get to see each other
That's
anymore.
right. Yeah, our paths do not cross that often.
No, they don't. They don't. Joe, let's start here, though. Men's hoops, the season that just concluded. Jim Larrañaga, what were they, 27-8, made it to the Sweet 16, whatever they finished. But where does that season rank in the history of sports, basketball? Yeah. Best ever, second best behind?
Well, it's one of their top three,
right.
top 3 or 4. They've been to the Sweet 16 only three times, so it's one of the top that they've ever had. Probably the team that a couple years ago that won the ACC regular season and the ACC tournament would probably be the best basketball season that Miami's ever had. I think it kind of goes under the radar, the achievement of winning the ACC basketball tournament in North Carolina against North Carolina State and North Carolina. It's a little bit like somebody coming into the Orange Bowl in the heyday and beating Miami. But this past season was a tremendous year, and they played in so many great games and had so many highs, many more highs than lows.
Yeah. And what was their best week? Because they had the early week in Puerto Rico, right, where they got on the map, but then they had the week where they beat Louisville and Virginia, right?
Yeah. You had a week where you played North Carolina, which would have given them a share of the league title, but also had to play Virginia, Louisville, and Notre Dame, and beat those 3 teams. Actually beat Notre Dame twice. So I thought that was pretty significant. The amount of top 25 victories they had during the course of the year, Louisville, Virginia, Notre Dame. You mentioned Puerto Rico down there. They beat Butler and Utah, beat the Gators earlier in the year, swept Florida State, had some great narrow victories, as you're always going to do in the ACC. And then they had a coast-to-coast win at Notre Dame, which was a tremendous victory.
Why is Jim Larrañaga so successful? I look at that team and I see players that he recruited. I see other Division I transfers. What is the mix? What is his secret?
I think it's a great lesson actually for athletic directors when it comes time to hiring coaches. Because what do you always hear? Oh, let's go hire young and aggressive, right? That stereotype. And then when they hired Jim Larrañaga, it was, is this his last, rodeo? Is he going there to be on vacation or retirement? But what you got with Jim Larrañaga was experience. You've got a head coach that has 40 years of experience. So there is nothing that he hasn't seen, whether it's X's and O's on the floor or behavior by players on or off the floor. During the course of the year, he had to suspend one of his top players for 3 games. Didn't blink an eye. Played Duke and Carolina, didn't blink an eye. Has been to the Sweet 16 twice in 4 years at the University of Miami. And I think it's because of the experience, the steady hand, being able to be an educator to his players, a very good recruiter, a very sharp eye for talent. And then when it comes to the strategy, Perk, he's as good as anybody in the country because you can't throw a defense at him that he hasn't seen. Right. Okay, I saw that when we played Hofstra 15 years ago. I saw that when we played Duke 5 years ago. Whatever it is, he's got an answer.
Joe, the women's side don't get a whole lot of publicity, but Katie Meyer, 5 tournaments in the last 6 years, I believe, after making it 3 times in the previous 17 for women's basketball. Disappointing finish to the season, right? They lost in the first round, a 12-5 upset. They lost to South Dakota State.
Correct.
Was it 74-71, I believe? But still, 24-9. Talk about Katie Meyer and the job that she's done.
Katie Meyer's a great coach.
Great coach.
She's a great coach.
She is.
She really has built a program. I think actually women's sports, they go under the radar. Women's basketball goes under the radar. But if you want to take a look at an outline on how to build a program, you might look at hers in that when she took it over, I remember doing a lot of shows with her. There were a lot of losses. A lot of early
and she's
losses.
Very emotional
about
she takes those hard,
but she knew what she wanted to get to. And fortunately, they gave her the time. They gave her the time. And then in her 3rd or 4th year, she hit the NIT. Made the NIT championship. And from that point on, they've been in the tournament almost every year, back-to-back the last 2 years. And she has a style. If you're going to be in the ACC, I think if you're in Miami, you've got to find a way to compete with Carolina and Duke. And Jim Larrañaga figured that out also, experience. But with Katie Meyer, she knew what she wanted to play. Very aggressive defense, up-tempo, was afforded the luxury of some time, recruited to that. And the only thing that she is up against is the first round in women's basketball is not at a neutral site.
Right.
You're playing at someone else's school now. This year was at Stanford. They did not play Stanford, but nonetheless, you are not going to a neutral site. I think that is one area where women's basketball probably has to get a little bit better.
As a matter of fact, I saw UM had the longest travel in the tournament, 2,500 miles out to the West Coast.
A little bit unfortunate considering the season that they had and the conference they played in.
Right. Joe, baseball. I mean, look, amazing things going on out there at UM again. You know, we were talking before the show, and UM has beaten Louisville. They've beaten Clemson and North Carolina. Tell me about this UM baseball team. I mean, they are still rolling. Jim Morris has still got these guys rolling.
They've lost 4 games all year. It's an incredible story. They're ranked number 2 in the nation. It's the highest ranking they've had since the 2008 season, and that team was really good. Yonder Alonso, Yasmani Grandel, Jamal Weeks. They were really, really good. This team lost a lot of valuable players from last year's team. They lost, considering this, Perk, they lost David Thompson, who for most of the year led the nation in home runs and RBIs. They lost George Escuderian, who led the ACC in hitting. They lost their center fielder, Ricky Eusebio, who had a great on-base percentage. That's a lot of offense. And it's been picked up this year by Carl Chester leading off, hitting over 300. Zach Collins has the second best on-base percentage in the nation. Willie Abreu has 2 walk-off home runs against very good teams. And they're getting good pitching all the way through. And then they're playing really good defense. Their defense is number 1 in the nation. We're number 1 in the ACC. Last weekend, they had a little ceremony for Jim Morris. They got one jersey that said 1,500 and another jersey that said 1,000. 1,500 career wins and 1,000 of those at the University of Miami. That's pretty remarkable.
Amazing. From Elon College, correct?
From Elon, then Georgia Tech, then Miami. And considering they're a private school, now people don't understand, baseball is not a full scholarship sport. It's a salary cap. You have 11.5 scholarships at Miami, split up over 27 players. People can do the math on that.
At a school that costs $30,000 a year.
The tuition's $60,000. Right, cost of tuition is about $60,000. It's a pretty tall mountain to climb, and they are playing great.
Joe, is this the best spring at UM ever? I say ever. Let me couch that in recent memory because of basketball, baseball. I thought Shrek did something. I did see them at the Texas Relays on TV. The women's sprint relay team.
She's coach of the year.
Amy Dean.
They won the indoor.
That's what it was. They won the indoor. Exactly.
They're always tremendous. And she's a great coach.
She's outstanding coach.
Paige Roshuk, too, in women's tennis, always has them in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. They've got a tremendous women's tennis program. So, it's been a very good spring. I don't know where I would chalk it up, but I think the spring sports are doing really well, and football is very quiet, which is good.
Which is a good thing, exactly. And we will talk some football on the next edition of Sports with Perk. That's Joe Zagacki. I'm Chris Perkins. You're watching SunSentinel.com.